Hi, my name is Kristy Love, and I am the principal of Codwell Elementary School in Houston ISD. And I just wanted to take some time to come to you and talk to you about, just our experiences going through what I would like to say, a school district-wide crisis that was sort of a blow to our emotional well-being and how we were able to come together and get through it. So about 2 years ago, we in the Houston area was hit with a unprecedented event that we just never really saw coming. And that was Hurricane Harvey. And it started out with us as Tropical Storm Harvey. And so what happened over a course of a period of time was, living in Houston, Texas, we're used to hurricanes, tropical storm season, hurricane season. I mean, it's a way of life here for us in Houston. However, at the start of this particular situation, we just thought it was going to be another tropical storm. We saw the path. I mean, we watch it, we track, and just to see what's going on, and we started making preparedness. Sometimes for tropical storms, we're going to be out for a day or two, sometimes not even a day, and then sometimes it may last about a week. And so what ended up, and we know the areas of the city that typically floods, and for us in Houston, it's if a tropical storm is coming or something is coming, we stay put. We get provisions and we pray that the electricity doesn't go out, so we'll have air conditioning, and we try to stay put. And if we know that we're going to be in an area that may be affected, then we leave. But we, as a whole city, we just don't get up and go. And we just try to make provisions. And so what ended up happening for us, I know in my district in Houston ISD, is that it went from being a tropical storm that was going to affect, maybe just give us some rain, which we're used to here in Houston, just a lot of rain, to something that had us shut down for a period of time. And so I am, just something personal about me, I am a single woman with no children. So I'm in my apartment, by myself, and trying to make sense of, what's going on after the storm is gone through. Once the storm leaves us, then what do we now do? How do we connect and do things where we don't feel like we're alone in something? And so one of the things that I did while we were out with Hurricane Harvey was the first time that I set up a group chat with my staff. I'd never done that before. We will be out for a couple of days and we'll be back at school, but I set up a group chat just to do check-ins. So we did daily check-ins. And our daily check-ins, some of them were funny. We share funny memes just to keep ourselves going and be connected. Another thing that I did was I started doing daily check-ins and check-ins via social media and on Classroom Dojo that we use with our parents. And that gave the parents a connection that we knew what was going on outside of our doors, because we were just by ourselves. We were just with our families, but we didn't know what's happening on your side of town or what's happening here, what's happening there. And then we were able to share resources. So now that we're going through what we're going through now, I actually just finished a video conference with my leadership team, and being able to see their faces and share resources and going online. My teachers have already started the process, and we're technically still on spring break here. So started the process of just like reaching out to parents and seeing what we can do to help. And my staff member, one of my team members even said, okay, so when you end your message with the staff, what are you going to then tell them? So what encouraging words can you give them in this time? So that's just a little bit of background about how we're able to cope and the things that we have done here. And so I want to say that as you're going through, just remember that your team, your teachers, everyone is dealing with whatever this situation is differently. Trauma is real. It looks different for different people. And being in a situation where we have to be socially distant is a new concept for a lot of people, because you really don't have to deal with it in a lot of other areas. And so being able to have some type of connection with others and being able to have conversation and just connecting with asking questions and checking in means the world to people. Utilizing the technology that you may have at your disposal, using, your FaceTime with telephones, Duo with telephones, just being able to hear your voice. So recording a message and maybe posting it on your social media accounts, anything where the kids especially can see that sense of normalcy that they may be getting, because they are wondering, where are we? What are my teachers going to be doing? How are they going to connect with me and work with me? And then being able to, like, for a staff, we are creating our own circle of control and circle of no control, a circle of influence and circle of no control for our campus. What is it during this time that we can control? What is it that we have no control over? And let's focus on what we can control so that our anxiety won't grow. And so all of these things are things that we learned, unfortunately, the hard way when we were down for about 2 weeks, some schools longer. But at my school, we were down for about 2 weeks. And it still took us a while to get back to that sense of normalcy, to get to a point where every time it started to rain, because this was at the beginning of hurricane season, because this is when school started. School started up in August, and it happened in August. And so this was at the beginning of hurricane season. And so we still had tropical storms, we still had rain that came through. So every time it rained, thinking about what this did to this student or that student, you having to be mindful about those things. So as we're going back and as you're trying to create a type of sense of normalcy now, because we're all dealing with how are we going to provide the support, whether it be academic support, but most importantly, social emotional support to our students. How are we now going to be able to do that utilizing the resources? And we found ourselves turning to the leader in me to try to figure out how we're going to just keep the positivity going, looking at those paradigms and what we can control and where we are creating an atmosphere for students to grow and learn. So as we are moving through and trying to navigate this new sense of normalcy for ourselves, we're constantly going back to our experiences through Harvey. And honestly, just even thinking back, even some years, thinking through our situation for Hurricane Ike. And even our situation with Rita, where it did not hit us, but we had to evacuate and it caused a gridlock on the freeway. So all of these things, have an effect on how we are able to cope through. I want, people to understand and know and remember that, hey, it's okay to make a mistake through this time. It's okay for us to learn from each other, but it's also important for us to lean on each other with the resources that one may have. So as you're going through it, you may say, well, I don't see where what the big fuss is in my area because we're not going through it, but why do we have to go through this when we're not dealing with this particular situation in my area? Don't forget that there are people who that you may be connected to and you don't know. During Harvey, it did not flood in my area at all. I did not lose power. I had plenty to eat. I laid up and watched TV in my bed for 2 weeks. But my counterparts did not have the same situation. So I then said, okay, if I can go and do this, I'm going to go and help clean out some homes. I'm going to go and help do certain things so that we can then put ourselves in other people's shoes and practice that empathy, and put ourselves in other people's shoes to figure out what we can do. So I hope that something that I stated can sort of resonate as we go through and we navigate these uncharted territories that we're navigating right now. I want to say that just the great thing about being involved in Leader in Me in this process is having to help put certain things into perspective when I too want to scream and say, well, what do we need to do? Then I can go back and say, okay, Kristy, let's focus on what you know you can do. So with that being stated, I want everyone to stay positive. You know, think about your mindfulness apps, think about using certain things to just help keep your mind calm as you are being the leader of your campus, being the leader of your classroom, being the leader of your department, whatever it may be, that we can get through it because we're going to lean on each other and we're going to learn from each other and learn through this. I wish everyone well, and I want you to know that although I don't know you, I am thinking about you.